Alright guys, it's another morning. I'm just going to start up the Valiant here. Alright, let's see if it'll start up on the first try. Sometimes it doesn't because it still has its mechanical fuel pump. Usually I just give it one pump and see if it'll start. Not quite. There we go. Took 2 pumps. Alright guys, Valiant, let's go to work. So, why am I filming my drive to work today, or this week more specifically? Well, there is a very specific reason, which is that I have been working at the company I've been working at for, I think, very nearly 4 years, or maybe slightly past 4 years. Honestly, it's all kind of a blur by now. But I think it's probably been close to 4 years by now. But this is my last week of work before I go on parental leave for an extended period of time. Now, a lot of people have been asking me, like, well, I think I may have discussed this in some of the other videos, but more or less, yeah, I'm going on parental leave, and, you know, dads can take advantage of it too. It's just, that's more of a newer thing. But the specific reason why I'm going to film my drive to work today is that this is some of the last couple drives to work that I will be doing for a very, very long time, because this is my last week of work. So it's been quite a journey, and to be honest with you, I'm a little bit happy to take a break from that and spend more time with my family. Upkeeping our YouTube channel has been pretty hard as well, given that I work full-time and it's me doing quite a bit of it, although Kerry does quite a bit as well, but she also works in addition. But yeah, upkeeping the channel has been pretty hard over the last few years because I'm working full-time, and then I'm also working on the tiny house. And even though I'll be busy with my son and my family here soon, just the fact that I'm not gone for 7.5 hours a day or 8 hours a day or whatever it is will be a really big help. And so I'm probably going to start increasing the amount of videos that we're doing on the channel. I already have been increasing shorts and stuff, which are easy to film, but I'm going to try to get our videos up to past a certain level and subscribers up past a certain level within the next year. So you guys will be seeing more content. I noticed that the car videos are doing very, very well, which is somewhat surprising because we didn't start our channel specifically about that at all. But you guys seem interested in the car stuff. So if that's something that would interest you guys, please let us know and we'll do some more stuff. With this car, specifically with the Valiant, I was probably going to film a couple videos over the summer and autumn about fixing a couple things on it. Like it had a couple things, like it has a bum motor mount and stuff like that. I kind of wanted to bring its transmission out and reseal it. I don't know if I'll get to that this year. And I also bought, this is an interesting one, for the based van, for the Dodge Ram van that I have, the orange one, I bought a 4-speed torque flight for it, which are kind of rare, and I'm going to replace the 3-speed torque flight with the 4-speed torque flight. If you guys are interested, we'll do that this summer and we'll film it. Alright guys, another hard work, another day, another dollar, and there's only a couple of these left in the week, and I think I'm driving my Valiant probably to work just one more time after this, because I had to make a dump run tomorrow, so I was going to take the orange van for that, the based van as I like to call it. So the Valiant has both received a lot of love and not a lot of love from me. I did go through the whole process of painting it, because it was originally like hot rod black when I bought it. But that being said, aside from that, because I don't drive it, I only drive it during the summer, I kind of have trouble justifying like where I have a bit of money or time. It's like, well, I should probably like, you know, fix up my winter beater, because that one I kind of needed to actually work and get me places during the winter. But now, you know, things are changing in my life and stuff like that. I don't have a huge budget still, obviously. But there are a few things I was going to fix on the blue car here, the Valiant, like I say. It has something it's had for a very long time, is that it has like a really poor shifting. And I changed the filter and fluid, and that really helped. But then like a while later, like the poor shifting would reemerge. And what I found out was happening was that I think it's leaking. What I think is happening is that it's leaking out of the front input shaft, the transmission. And so I fill it up to the proper level, and then it leaks out, and then it's low on fluid again, basically. And it leaks pretty quickly out of that input shaft. I did like the easier seals to get to, but it's that input shaft, I'm pretty sure, or something up front. So at some point, it'd be nice to rebuild this transmission just so it stops leaking. That would, or maybe not a full rebuild, but just stop it from leaking, and that would probably make it shift a lot better. The engine has a bad motor mount, like I say. Another thing that is a really silly thing that I should have done, but I have a good reason, I think, is that I should have done the valves on this, because this has a solid valve train, as all Slant 6s do. But I was going to do it, but the valve cover is like so insanely well glued on that I was like, I'm going to bend this thing if I pull it off. So I'll have to think about how I'm going to do that, or have another valve cover waiting in the wings if necessary. Another kind of issue with this car is that its drum brakes are a little bit hard to maintenance because they're not so common anymore. In this particular case, the issue that I have is that a couple years ago, a spring broke off inside of the drum brake, and it was running around between the shoe and the actual drum itself for enough miles to carve like a little V shape inside of the drum. So the drum is like flat as it is on the inside, but then it has like a little V channel inside where that spring was going around. I'm gonna close the window. I hope it's not too loud. I'll leave it open. Let's go for it. This is the real life, guys. Driving a car like this that has no AC, you gotta roll with the punches. Sometimes it's a little loud, you know. Nothing wrong with that. So as I was saying, that drum has like a V channel carved into it, and I can't find the drum. The drums, I think you maybe can find them on eBay, but you have to like remove some swaging around the lugs, which I could do now, but I probably couldn't have done at that time a couple of years ago. And they're a little bit pricey, and you have to buy them and like ship them from America or whatever. So it's a little bit of a hassle. So what I did was, just in order to have like, okay, I want like safe brakes that have like, you know, proper new shoes and stuff, is that I bought the new shoes and I put them in there and just went with it. Now when I had the shoe off, just when I filmed that video about the wheel nuts for Valiants, I did notice that the actual brake shoe is like flat and then has like a little peak like that. So it's kind of like forming into the drum, which you'd think like, it's kind of odd, but maybe it doesn't have an issue. The problem is though, is that the drum can't really come off because like it's not flat. You need to like get it past that mound somehow. So I think what I had to do was I had to go in and like manually loosen the adjustment lever like for the inside of the drum, and then I was able to get the drum off. But if I have the budget, maybe I'll replace those, or maybe like try and weld this one up or something like that. I am not sure. But that actually caused an interesting problem that kind of freaked me out the other day, like about a month ago. I was really worried because I was feeling this like severe vibration in the car's front end, and I was thinking that like, oh, maybe I didn't tighten the wheel lugs enough or something, and they're coming off. It kind of felt like that, and it was really severe at some points, and I was like, oh my god, is my wheel about to fall off? So I stopped and I was looking, and I got the car up on jacks, and I like looked through everything, completely disassembled the bearings and the brakes and everything, and tried everything on the suspension, pulling at it to see if I got any movement. And I mean, this is an old car, so there's lots of things that are like, yeah, that could be better, but there was nothing that was like a smoking gun. It was like, this is like totally, you know, moving and shaking and stuff. So I didn't find any smoking gun, but what I eventually realized, because that problem kind of started coming back last week, what I eventually realized was that, oh, it's the carving into the drum. That's what it is. And once I thought about that, I noticed that I only feel it on left turns. So, which kind of, you know, makes it feel like the left wheel might be coming off or loose or something. But no, it's actually that the drum, like, you get a little bit of movement in the bearings and stuff like that, but on a left turn, I'm moving it enough that I'm slightly like causing a vibration as it hits up against the side of the channel, which a drum brake doesn't ordinarily have. It's just flat, right? So yeah, a couple things to fix. I would really like to put a bigger exhaust on this too, or just a better exhaust. Like the exhaust is really shaky. Maybe that's the motor mounts too, or just the engine being having a little bit of excess vibration because of like the valves not quite being tuned. It could be a lot of things really, but I would like to get that sorted, because the exhaust is kind of noisy sometimes on like driving around in traffic and stuff like that. And what else? Long term, I would like to clear coat the car, because I don't know if I did a video about this, but I did a Rust-Oleum paint job on this car. But I got them to do like I picked like a color off of their website. There's actually technically Dulux Paint here in the city that they allow you to like pick a custom color and they'll mix it for you. And they have this metal paint. It's kind of like a knockoff of Tremclad a little bit. It's called Metal Clad. And I got them to mix a custom batch for me. Now, as a side story, I wanted them to mix me 2 quarts, but the guy on the phone misheard, and he actually mixed me 2 gallons. So I have like a whole extra, I ended up using more than 2 quarts, but I have a whole extra gallon of this color of paint. And I have no idea what I'm going to do, because I don't want to paint my other cars all this color. That would be kind of weird. But I did try clear coating it though when I painted it. I was doing this in like a dusty old garage, and so my painting conditions weren't very good, and I didn't have a compressor that had enough CFM to actually run an HVLP gun, so that caused a lot of issues. And I had some overspray issues. I should have taken the hood and the trunk off and painted them on the side, because that would have really eliminated a lot of the overspray issues, I think. But I did end up clear coating it after with this really expensive clear coat, and it looked really, really nice. But the problem was, like I say, because I was having those overspray issues, it just wasn't working out, and it wasn't, the clear coat wasn't flat enough. So I ended up having to do a lot of sanding and then polishing, and then compounding and then polishing to get it to look decent. And kind of the net result is that it kind of just looks like a flat, like it doesn't look like a flat paint job, it looks like a gloss paint job, but it doesn't look like it was clear coated at all. And it looks a little bit amateurish. So what I'll probably do at some point is just give everything a good sanding again, and then clear coat it, and then it'll look really good. But I have no immediate plans of doing that, but I'll do that eventually, just to make the car like really pop. Alright guys, we're on the highway, we're at highway speeds. I am running with the windows closed, just because you guys have to be able to hear me. It's a little bit warm, but it's not too bad. Another interesting tale that I have from this car is how hard it was to find tires for it, because this thing has its original 13-inch rims, and there aren't any cars that are sold today in Canada, at least, with 13-inch wheels. And there haven't been for 15 years or something to that effect. So, as of 5 years ago, you could have found 13-inch tires. But when I bought these ones, I think in like 2021 or something like that, the answer was like no, basically. Like Cal Tire, although I think that maybe I could find, it was rare still, but maybe I could find some 13-inch tires, but they were like excessively low profile for my needs. Like they had too thin of a sidewall. So that wasn't going to look right on this car, obviously, and then it would like basically make it have really low, really high gearing, where it could like do burnouts and stuff, I guess, but it would be really loud on the highway. That's not what I wanted. And then it would have really small tires on the wheel wells. It would look kind of weird. So I had to look around and find like, okay, I need some sort of like tire size that is like kind of more like old car tires, where they have tall sidewalls for like, you know, that kind of squishy ride. And we have this chain here in Canada called Canadian Tire. They actually don't really sell that many tires, but in this story I did buy tires from them. We have 2 Canadian Tires here in Saskatoon, and I looked at both, and I think I was trying to like call them and stuff like that. I think I was like trying to like say like, do you guys like, I think maybe I found a listing on their website for like a 13-inch tire that was about the right size I needed and pretty affordable. And I was like calling around and stuff, because online wouldn't commit to having stock. I was calling around and saying like, hey, do you guys have like these tires, you know, do you have any left or something? And they were like, no. So this would have been the end of the story. Like, I wouldn't have been able to find 13-inch tires unless I went for like really specialty like Coker tires or something like that, which are very expensive and out of my budget for this car. But I ended up on a lark calling the Canadian Tire in Martinsville, which is like an hour out of the city. It's kind of like a satellite community, but it's like an hour away from here or something like that. And I called them, and they seem to be kind of like a little bit more rural and more willing to like wheel and deal. So they're like, yeah, we'll try to look in our catalog or something and see if we find something. And they did find it. They found me 13-inch tires. I don't know what the date code is on them. I actually should have checked that if they were like a little bit old or something. But they found me 13-inch tires. That's probably like the last mainstream 13-inch tires I'll be able to find. They were made by some like Taiwanese company or something. They're kind of like, you know, kind of cheapo tires, but they did the job. Like, they were way better than the old ones I had on there, which were super dry and like, it's hard to describe. Actually, those are the first full set of new tires that I ever bought, and after doing that, I'm never going to buy used tires again. Now, obviously, some people need to buy used tires just out of economic necessity, right? Like, I've been there where you don't really have any money at all to spend on your car, and you have to just buy used tires. But if you can afford it or finance it or something, I would buy new tires. Like, they'll last for, you know, 7 years or something like that, and they just, the amount of like grip you have and stuff like that is just really noticeable. Tires just dry out over time, especially here in Saskatchewan. It's very sunny, it's very windy, and the volatile compounds that make the rubber soft, they disappear after a while. So, and then a lot of people ask like, well, like, those are I really like the white walls that your Valiant has, and people genuinely can't notice until they come up close. But those are not real. Those are porta walls. And the reason I did that was because I was, once again, looking at like the option of like, do I buy like Coker tires or something like that, or do I buy just find these 13-inch tires, and Canadian Tire can install them for me, and I use my credit card, so I got lots of points on that. But then also buy those porta walls on eBay, which I found they weren't that expensive at all. Especially because they're 13-inch, they're pretty small, so they weren't expensive. I think they were maybe like $60 or something. I probably had to pay for shipping too. But it was actually way cheaper to just do that, to just buy those tires and then put on the porta walls. And furthermore, if I actually bought white wall tires, I would have kind of had to decide, like, definitively decide, do I want like fat white walls or skinny white walls? And I like both, but I can't really decide what will fit on the character of this car because I've never seen it with white walls, right? And it's not very common to see Valiants with white walls. So I just decided, like, well, if I buy the porta walls, then I can switch things up if I don't like the look of it. If I buy the full-on white wall tires, I'm really committed at that point. There's no going back on that. Okay, so we are back home, guys. Thanks so much for watching the video. Please subscribe and like if you're not already, and we'll see you guys in the next video. If you guys are interested in more car content, let me know too. I'll see if I can keep delivering. Anyway, bye for now.